Good morning everybody, Susan here with Pumpkin Hill Stampers. I have a Stampin' Show and Tell for you today. I'm going to be playing with some retired cardstock, ribbon, and designer series paper, but I'm going to be stamping with some current stamp sets. I'm also going to be creating 3 cards is the goal here, and they're all going to have a recessed theme to them. I had a customer who asked me about doing recessed themes, so I'm going to talk about that as well. So a few weeks ago I sent my VIP customers card kit in the mail, and they got these pieces, and we're going to make a card today. And then I was informed, right, that February 13th, the day before Valentine's Day, is deemed Galentine's Day, so it's for the girlfriends to let each other know that they are cared and thought of and remembered. So I'm going to try to do a Galentine's Day card for the first one. So let's go ahead and get started. So this paper is retired, like I said. It is powder pink, and this is designer series paper from a few years back that went with that paper at the time. So this one's going to be kind of simple to start, but I'm going to try to do the Galentine's Day greeting. Okay, so first I cut my card down to 4 inches by 5.5. I went 4 inches because my designer series paper was 12 by 12 and I wanted a square piece, and I didn't want there to be any leftover edge. So this is going to fit right on the front of my card, like so. Then I have another piece of cardstock here. It started out to be 3 by 4. I've used my Curvy dies from the Quite Curvy bundle in the spring catalog, and I cut those with my die. Okay, so I went right down the middle. I got 2 pieces, and I got this flourished edge as an element for my card. Okay, great, moving right along. So let's put these pieces on, and then I have a piece of powder pink shimmer ribbon. So let's put some of these pieces on. So here's the idea. I'm going to start by putting on my decorative paper. Okay, and I'm just going to put this kind of in the center of my card, and I'm going to use the 2 ends of my die piece as my edges. Okay, so there's that. Then I'm going to put 1 piece on the top and see how that fits. I'm going to move this piece to the bottom. Now, before I put those on though, I want to stamp my sentiments. Now this is where I'm getting a little fancy today. I'm using the Happy Valentine's Day sentiment from Heart to Heart, and I'm going to ink it with my marker. I want to skip the V, okay? Because instead of it saying Valentine's Day, I want it to say Galentine's Day. Now we do have a stamp set in the spring catalog, I believe, that actually has a stamp that says Galentine's Day. But I'm going to make my own with what I have in my collection. Hopefully this marker is going to be moist enough to get the job done here. Alright, so ink that up. I'm just huffing it, and then I'm putting this down on my piece. I'm a little concerned that that marker's dry, but oh, good, perfect. Alright, now I've taken the G from Make a Difference stamp set. Okay, it's a bunch of letters. It's similar, but it's not exactly the same font, but I'm going to make it work. So I'm going to ink up my G. Okay. Put my marker away. I'm going to huff that as well. Okay, huffing just means you're kind of re-moistening it with your breath. And I'm going to stamp that right in front of my word, and I can see through my block. And there we go. Now I've got a Galentine's Day stamp. So, something a little different. I hadn't done that before, but that's kind of fun. Okay, so now I have my 2 pieces. So this is where the recessed part comes in. You do this all the time, and you might not just realize that it's kind of like a recessed card. So I'm going to put dimensionals on the back of my pieces here. Okay, we're just going to pop it up. I'm going to use the edge here because that makes it easier. Pull off all the backs. Okay, now a recessed card just means that you have a layer behind popped up layers. Okay, that's the simplest definition. Now sometimes there are fancy cuts involved. Sometimes they cut them on angles, sometimes they cut like a cone shape out of the center and then they put a piece behind. This one we just had a piece of cardstock that I cut with my die and I'm just separating them. So to keep it simple, that's a nice simple way of doing it, okay? And then I'm just going to add my ribbon around the top here. I'm just going to give it a simple bow knot, I think. Little double knot. Just for a little sparkle and flourish. Nothing too over the top, and just kind of break that up. And if you need to give your edges a little bit of a trim, just bring your ends up and snip. Okay, so there is my Galentine's Day card. Okay, so kind of fun, right? And you could do this with any of your papers, any of your cardstocks, right? Just because I'm using polka dots and flourishes doesn't mean anything. Any die can make a cut for you. Any paper can be layered behind. You can even stamp the layer behind. All right, I'm going to set that aside. So I have a second one. I said I was going to try to do 3, so we'll see how I do on my time. All right, so I started with the same elements. This time, though, I took my card base and I cut it down to 4 by 4. Okay, so this one's going to be a square card. Now, I'm going to just put this straight on the front. I'm going to go ahead and use my Tombow to put this layer on, just because it's going to give me a little grace in positioning it squarely. So when you use Tombow, you want to make sure you don't put too much on because it'll kind of squirt out the edges, but it does give you a little grace in positioning. So I just want to get this square on the front of my card, just like that. And for those of you who get kits from me, right, my VIPs who shop with me, when I send you a kit, it's for you to make your own card. Just because I might show something with that kit, don't feel like you have to do what I do. It's not the goal here. You're certainly welcome to copy what I do, but you are able to make your own card. All right, this time I'm borrowing a stamp from the Berry Blessings stamp set. I just love this. You always have a way of making my day. Okay, now I could stamp images here as well, but I'm just going to let my papers do the work, but I'm going to use this sentiment. So this is a celebration set. I earned it by having a $100 order, and then I could add it to my order for free. And celebration goes through the end of February. And this comes with lovely paper of its own that coordinates, beautiful bright colors with berry prints and plaids. So if you're interested in getting some free product, be sure that you shop before the end of celebration. Alright, so I've just inked that up with my memento. I stamped that down on my die cut embellished piece. Okay, and then I could put this anywhere I wanted to. I could put it in the middle. There's no rule that says I have to put it along the bottom. And I have my ribbon here as well. So I think I'm going to do that. So this time, what I'm going to do, okay, I'm going to go ahead and put this piece on. I'm not going to pop it up this time. So this one's not actually going to have a recessed element. This one I'm going to put on flat. But I am going to use my grid paper. Let's do things the smart way. And I'm going to line this up. Let's see, I'm going to give it 3/4 of, no, I'm going to give it an inch. Alright, giving it an inch. So I'm just lining up my square line an inch up. Okay, so there's that. It could go just the way it is. But if you want to add that ribbon element, and I do, I'm going to bring my Tombow back in. And I'm going to run a very thin bead. See how I'm using that edge of that cardstock? I ran a very thin bead right there. Now, you could use tear and tape, you could use sticky strip, you could use any adhesive you wanted to, but I'm just using that Tombow. And I'm just going to lay my ribbon right there. And press it in. And then I'm going to let it dry. Then when I come back, I'll snip the ends and it'll be good to go. Okay, so that probably won't be done before the end of the video, but that's how it's going to look at the end. It's just going to have a little bit of sparkle on there. like that. All right, number 2. I'm moving right along. All right, let's do number 3. So number 3, another stamp set, just because I like it so much. So same pieces to start with, right? Same pieces to start with, like the beginning. This time I'm going to alter it a little bit differently though. All right, so I'm going to put this piece on first. And what I want to do with this one is I want to create that flourished edge on the end of my card, but I want the inside to peek through a little bit. So I'm going to do some trimming. But instead of making it a 4x4 like I did the last time, I'm going to leave it 4x5.5, but I'm just going to trim the front edge. So, okay, so here's my card open. I've just put that piece on there, like so. So I'm bringing in, I've got this small paper trimmer from a year ago celebration. I'm going to bring this in, and I just want to trim off, yeah, I guess, let's see. Yeah, that'll be enough. All right, I'm going to trim off right where, pretty close to where that DSP ends. Okay, so you can use that as guide. I left a little bit, but right where that DSP ends. So I just cut that front off. Okay. The idea here is that we're going to put this piece back on and see how it reveals that center inside. Okay. So you have that little fun edge there. All right, this time I'm using the Happy Thoughts stamp set. This is in our spring catalog. This was designed by one of our $1 million sales demonstrators. This was her creation, and so I have to say I'm pretty happy with it. I like it. So I'm just inking this one up with my black ink, and I'm going to use this again as my sentiment tag along with my flourish tag, and I'm going to put this right there, and I can see through my block that it was going to fit. If it wasn't going to fit, you could just cut yourself a bigger piece, but there's that. All right, close up my ink. So this time, okay, so see how this is going to overlap just on the edge here. Okay, just on the edge there. So I could put it on with dimensional, and I will, because I said I was going to do some recessed cards. So this one isn't a true recessed card because it doesn't have 2 elements, although we could put the other one back on. So let's see. I'm actually going to put this here. That way I know it's right on the edge, and it's not gonna be too high up. So I'm using just the edges of my dimensional strip here. Okay, just right along the edge. These thin pieces. So I'm just piecing that together. I'm going to peel off my backers. Push that up or trim it off. Alright, and then I'm going to bring my words in. Now the key here is I need to cover that edge, or I put that adhesive, but I also need to have it square, and I wanted it to reveal that inside piece. Okay, there's that. So now I could put ribbon right in there if I wanted to. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it like I did the first time. Bring it around. I'm going to tie the bow on this side this time though. Let's see. Just do a double knot. Pull it snug. Okay. And just push that up above my sentiment there, and we'll trim off the ribbon. Okay, so there's that. Now, if you wanted to do a true recessed card, you could use your piece and put another piece on at the top. You could even flip it, trim it square, and put a little square header at the top if you wanted to. So remember, they're your cards. Make them the way you want to, out of the materials you have. Okay? So I will post all the measurements, instructions to these projects on my blog post. I have a blog over at TAMS, T-A-M-S, Pumpkin Hill Stampers. and I will share the link below, and I will share the full tutorial with all of you today. I wish you all a happy Galentine's Day in a couple of weeks. Make some fun cards for your girlfriends and get them out there. Let's brighten each other's mailboxes a little bit and have some fun. And I hope you enjoyed this kind of quick, fun, off-the-cuff creating today, making 3 very different cards with the same elements from the beginning. Okay? So go cut and chop that paper, make some fun stuff up, and send me one, right? I'd love to get mail from you guys. So, have a great day, do some fun stamping, and don't forget, take advantage of celebration perks if you're going to be placing orders soon. Alright everybody, have a great day. I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.